Welcome everybody back to Boost Motion, guys, and today let's talk about it. This video is going to be about VR30 Turbo pretty much blowing. And what happened, and is it the fault of the installer or is it the fault of the company? Who's at fault? Let's jump right into the video. First thing, shout out to my whole Boost Motion family. I know you guys have already hit the like button. Thank you guys for your support. And if you're new to the Boost Motion channel, I'm Boost, and I'm doing a quick reaction to VR30 Turbo blowing. Now, I saw this post come up and I just had to actually comment on it because number one, I know the company that sold the turbos. I know the company that makes the turbos. And we're left here with a customer with a blown turbo or blown turbos. And who's at fault? So quickly, let's jump into some of the information and let's see what is available. Now, shout out to the Infinity Q50 Q60 group here. I'm assuming this person Isaac might follow my YouTube channel, so when I do post this, he may send me a DM. I don't know. Sometimes people don't know me, some people do, but I'm gonna be transparent and use all the information as listed. So quickly, let me just show you guys a video of the blown turbo. Yeah, look at that turbo. So the people who's sitting there watching, what is that exactly? Because some of you guys may not understand what's going on. So when the car is running, the engine's running, the turbine wheels should continue to be spinning because this exhaust is still going to hit on the hot side of the turbo and keeps it spinning, no matter if the wastegate's fully open or not. Cool. The fact that it's sticking and then it's spinning again, which means it's off balance, it might be damaged, which means the bearings are pretty much probably bad on it. There's damage to the turbo. That's why it's running that way. Now, let's quickly go through the post, through the comments. Now, Isaac, sorry, I'm going to put your name up here because it's still public information. This happens when you buy turbos from VR Kings Performance. Barely. Okay, so first thing, shout out to VR Kings. And no, this is not a biased position. VR Kings has been out since damn the inception of the VR30 community. Just because they're not Z1 Motorsports, AMS, or in any one of these big companies doesn't mean that they haven't been serving the VR30 community for the last 5 to 6 years, okay? So, number one, let's put that out there. Let's be quite fair. Number two, barely was dialing in the car in, and this happens. Then tried to get at least some of my money back, and they refused to give me. They refused. Gave me a bunch of excuses saying I did something wrong and that the turbos were bought 5 months ago. I don't even think I put 1K on them, 1,000 miles on them, and finally started dialing it in, and that happens. Just letting y'all know, legit just barely on base map. Ended up buying Z1 motors, Z1 turbos anyways. If y'all know me, I'm not a person who calls people out like this, but just for your information. First thing, I don't know who you are, Isaac. It is what it is. No disrespect to you. I understand your frustration. You spent money on a product and you wanted to deliver. I get it. So I completely understand that. Even if I didn't know who VR Kings was, I still not gonna just jump to accusations. Because one first thing that you just said in the post was you did about 1,000 miles on it. 1,000 miles is a long time for service history for a turbo already. That's brand new. 1,000 miles or barely, right? And you said 5 to 6 months ago. Two things. Think about that. You're selling a product and the person used it and 6 months later it breaks. Yes, can that happen on TVs? A manufacturer defect? Yes. But when it comes to mechanical components such as this, such as a turbo, which is a specific issue that does go through wear and tear, like a clutch or like brake pads, it does wear and tear over time. Just not supposed to fail within 1,000 miles. So I agree. But we're in the performance world. We're not in the OEM world where Infinity gives you a new turbo and it goes and they replace it because your car stopped. We're in a modified world. They can't warranty you things on such things such as this. Just being quite honest with you. But hear me out. So let's quickly look through some of the comments. Let me just move my name outside of the comment section right here. And Jose Mar, Rip shaking my head. All good. Zero and turbos on the way. Just can't believe they didn't want to refund me some of my money. Now, Isaac, why should they refund you some of your money? You bought a performance part that literally goes compresses air, and you bought it 6 months ago, installed it, right? And then if it fails, you want them to give you back some of your partial money. The only way you get your money back is number one, you send back the part to them. They inspect it and see what failed. If they find out that it failed because of a manufacturer defect, right? Or if it's a rebuilt turbo, then they can conclude and warranty you through the turbo manufacturer. But if it's still on your car, they don't just send money back because it breaks. That's not how that works. For example, I had K Sports coilovers a long time ago when I was broke, really broke college student. I had a failure with one of the K Sport coilovers, complete failure. I sent them a photo. I showed them that it was leaking. This is when K Sport was on their way up, right? They said, um, we'll still need the item, but as we could tell, we're not gonna warranty it. So they wanted me to spend like $100 and something else to send the coil over there just so they can inspect it, and then if it's warrantyable, they'll send me a new one. Obviously, that didn't work. That was very time consuming and money consuming. If not, I had to purchase a new one. So you know what I chose to do? I just went and bought BC coilovers. That's it. Matter of fact, I ended up buying two front BC coilovers because it was the front coilovers that went bad. I bought two front Visa coilovers because people just randomly had random parts like that on their Maximas, and I put them in front and call it a day. Never went back. But the thing is, you need to send it in. You have to put money up front. I'm sorry. Call your credit card company and show them emails. I had that issue a few years back, and Capital One got my money back. How is that even gonna work? He purchased it 6 months ago, and then it went bad now. It's not like he purchased an item, right? And he never received it in 6 months. And I don't want to get into a separate video about another company on here. I'm responding to this company because I know that they don't really have much complaints against them. But in this case, come on, how are you gonna try to charge back 6 months later? Been seeing people rave about them recently, and now this. Don't know who to trust anymore. First thing, plenty of people have raved about them. They've been in the community for a while. People rave about us because our great customer service and support. There's always more to the story than just the first page. Completely agree. Shout out to Jose. Were they new or used? That's what Ben asked. Isaac repeats and says he supposedly said he got them rebuilt before sending them out to me. Cool. Then he says, gotcha. Yeah, sucks, but this happens. I had a rebuilt turbo on my truck, only lasted a few months. Rebuilt the next one myself, and it's been good. Been on there for 7 years now. Cool. All right. I'm not buying anything unless it's from AMS, BMS, Racebox, or Dominique on here. Who's Dominique? I don't know. Basically, let's see here. But yes, 100% everyone else is getting ignored. Um, okay, cool. So VR Kings actually responds to the post with information. So let's jump right into it. Let's see what VR King's performance says. Before we have misinformation being spread, let's make things clear. The TPC, which is Turbo Parts Canada, turbos Isaac received almost 6 months ago were in perfect condition. They were rebuilt by TPC to be in new condition, which includes high-speed balancing. We received a very vague video with an explanation that the turbo shaft snapped with a demand of a refund. All right. Turbo shafts don't just snap, right? They just don't snap. They just don't snap, right? And if it did snap, you have to send the item in or the merchandise in so they can diagnose it and inspect to see what exactly happened to it. Just because something breaks, you say don't get the money back. That's not how it works. You buy your iPhone, it breaks. You don't call back T-Mobile and say I want my money back, even though you use the phone for 6 months. You don't do that. So why do you think you could do that on a freaking turbo? Anyways, we all know turbo shafts don't just snap. They either didn't get correct oiling from the install or something was ingested. Either way, we at VR Kings pride ourselves on customer service, which is why we have outstanding reputation to have an expectation of refund without proper inspection. I didn't even read this shit yet. Oh my god. Proper inspection and diagnose isn't going to happen. We absolutely offer to have the turbos inspected and repaired by TPC. Things happen, shit breaks, we get it. This is the modifying world, dummy, right? And if you would like to have the turbos inspected and repaired like we offered, you can DM us anytime and we'll get set you up. Okay, that sounds like a proper business response. Isaac responds and says, "You said you can assist me having them repaired and that you would pay for it, and sucks I have to make this post when you guys could have done right from the start. I have my own company with customers as well. When I F up, I make things right." Okay, Isaac. And he puts up a screenshot. Let's see if I can actually read this screenshot. Screenshot says, drops Jose's name. Turbo shafts. Okay, so when we see the last part with Jose responds, he says, "What was the real reason you took them off?" He said, "Turbo shafts don't break if." Okay, this is what this is not Jose. This is what Jose says. Turbo shafts don't break if that's even what really went wrong with them. I can't expect from video. Either the turbos didn't get the correct O-ring or something was ingested. Turbos were due when you received them freshly overhauled by TBC, and not a single problem with them when we received them over 5 months ago. We didn't install the turbos and we don't know what went on with the tuning. We can assist you with having them inspected and repaired by TPC. That sounds like a proper offer, and that was September 11th, about a week ago, a little over a week, almost 2 weeks ago. Cool. Let's click that off. All right. So then, Fiora Kings responded, we can assist you with having them inspected and repaired, meaning we will help you out and take care of it because that's what we do. And I apologize if that wasn't clear, but you never responded or asked otherwise. Ooh, talking shit. Also, somebody else responded, Johnny, from the looks of this correspondence, it seems as if you didn't even bother to get clarification about what they meant by assisting you, or just decided on your own what it meant. Being in the car world for 22 decades now, 90% of the time, getting a part warranted through a company after installing it yourself isn't going to happen. Seems as if you wanted something that majority of companies don't provide and got butthurt it didn't go your way. Isaac then replies, I work on these all the time. I have my own shop and I'm a certified airplane mechanic as well. I'm pretty sure I can handle a car. Now, Isaac, shout out to you. If you do work on these cars all the time, okay, cool. If you have the experience working on VR30s all the time, cool. That means you should know what you're doing. And be quite fair, right? But saying that you're an airplane mechanic is irrelevant. It's freaking irrelevant. Just because I'm a plumber, I know how to work with pipes, does not mean I know how to work in natural gas. See what I'm saying? Or I know how to work in the sewer system. See what I'm saying? If I only been doing plumbing where it deals with water, I can't say that I work in natural gas and I work with the sewer system. It may be the same type of parts, but they're for different uses. You're talking about a plane. We're talking about cars. Two separately different things. Or a better analogy, when someone sits there and says, yeah, I've been working on Fords all my life. I definitely know my way around an engine. Then you tell them to go work on a Mercedes or a BMW. You see? Even on overzealous, you use aggressive verbal will snap tiny shafts, whatever. First thing, Burble Map's not really gonna snap. Burble Map's not gonna really snap tiny shafts. That's not really what's going on there. I'm not even gonna get into that, Jordan. Get the Z1 or AMS turbos. Cool. I did already. Z1 said should be here in November. Oh, should get good. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. Give them a second, guys. You almost finished here. Hit the like button too if you really do appreciate you guys. That sucks, man, how they trying to use the fact that you got them 6 months ago as an excuse against, as if most people don't buy their parts over a course of time and install them all at once when preparing for a tune. Hopefully you have better luck with Z1 Motorsports. I get that idea. I get that, Jake. I get it that you might go out and spend $20,000 with AMS. You went and bought a high pressure fuel pump. You spent all this money on these expensive modifications through AMS, and then you waited a year to finally put it on. And then when you finally put it on, let's say the high pressure fuel pump spring fails, or you buy downpipes with catalytic converters from them, and the catalyst blows out the freaking exhaust. You you also installed the low pressure fuel pump, and the harness burns up on it, right? All these things could happen in a manufacturer defect because a company can warranty you because they can stand behind their work, right? They can do that, and some of those components are smaller and easier to inspect. But AMS isn't going to give back $700 because the spring broke on the high pressure fuel pump. They're not going to send you back a partial refund on a catalytic converter without proper inspection and diagnosis, or the same thing for a flex fuel kit or low pressure fuel pump or anything else. They need to properly inspect it to see if it was a manufacturer defect, so that if this issue tries to come up again on other people's cars, they can make a recall on it. That's just the way these things work. Turbos are a little bit different, especially if you buy a turbo that's rebuilt. If you bought one that's brand new, it's one thing, but buying a rebuilt turbo, yes, it can be just as good. The seals could be just as good, but still, it is a used part versus an OEM part, a new part. And even a new part could come with some manufacturer defects, and that's why warranty is there. All right. Read the screenshot he posted. Yikes. Anything from with a Z and the end of the Kings, whatever. Lando, cool. Lando, shout out to you, Lando. Much love, man. Lando is a certified tech, all right, and he's actually part owner of VR Kings. So, bro, this is a lame post. I've installed more hybrid turbos, specifically TPC turbos on VR30 than the average. These Gen 1 TPC require modifications to the oil feed supply line. You probably clog the line doing so, or use the wrong banjo bolt with the wrong size O-ring hose inside. These turbos are highly machined and built by a reputable turbo manufacturer with more quality control than pure turbos. You definitely didn't modify or get the oil line supply to turbos correct, because I'm familiar what modifications are needed to get it correct. That's what you get for being cheap and not paying a professional to do the install, or and your engine ingested particles and pass them out the exhaust port into the turbo, restricting its ability to spin. From what I know, you didn't have these installed by a reputable tech who's familiar with VR30s. You probably installed them yourself in a garage. LOL. We also replaced oil field lines on every upgraded turbo job because they clog up normally over time from the poor maintenance and wrong oil types. Haha. We want to see a clear video of number one, the oil feed supply lines, and two, the turbo drains. TPC turbo shafts don't just break, my man. You just crying now because you messed up. I'm sure Jose gave you options to have us or professionals install these, and you decline. Also, if you're not tuned by AMS, Racebox, or Sonic, chances they are overheated and overboosted. I'll also include Z1 Motorsports here. They're great tuners too. They're a little bit more on the conservative side. And there are other tuners in the VR30 platform. But I gotta say, from the inception of the VR30, you only got about a handful of 5 to 6 tuners. Anybody outside of that is really just new to the VR30, even if they've been tuning the car for the last 3 or 4 years, because they're still new. They got some under their belt, but these are the heavy hitters that we know and we trust, right? And probably have to reach out to them. I've seen them respond to. Okay, cool. So, all right. So let's get back to it. Let's break this down, right? Because we're gonna close this out now by saying this, right? I'm be honest with y'all. Number one, sit there and really think about it, brothers. Let me not even fold my arms up. Sit there and think about that. You go and you buy a turbo from that is rebuilt, right? From a third party company. They're not the ones who did the rebuild. The manufacturer did the rebuild. You purchase it from a third party. You waited 5 to 6 months to install it. You install it yourself. You said that you worked on cars all the time, or you seem like you've done all of these all the time. I'm assuming, but you're very vague in your answer, right? Because if you worked on VR30s all the time, you might have been like, I've swapped in plenty of turbos on VR30s. I've done 50 already. You would have said something like that, but we don't know. Let's assume that you have worked on VR30s quite enough times, right? So you finally installed it, drove the car for about 1,000 miles, with your own words, about 1,000 miles, right? 1,000 miles, no issues, because that means you were driving the car untuned with TPC turbos. So you put on upgraded turbos, and you did not tune it for 1,000 miles. And then when you didn't want after 1,000 miles, then you added on a base map. What were you doing? I'm confused. What were you just driving around beating on the car untuned? Anyone who's watching, do not do this. Do not put a pure RT, Z1, any aftermarket turbo without proper tuning and modifications for it, because you're asking for an issue or a problem. Now you install these stuff this on your own, right? After 1,000 miles, and now you're complaining that the shafts are sticking, they're broken. As they are saying, it can be lack of oil starvation. Oil starvation is a real thing. Without the bearings on the oil, or the oil being the bearings on the drive of the shaft being oiled up properly, they will fail, and things like this would actually happen. Number two, maybe this could be improper installation. That could happen too. This could be on you. Number three, let's be quite honest. Let's just say, theoretically, TPC did not rebuild them properly. It's not VR30, not VR King's problem. It would be TPC's issue, right? Let's say they do have a warranty for rebuild turbos for every 6 months to a year within that time frame. So you have to follow the normal policy and procedure for proper inspection. See if you can get a refund or a rebuild. From what it sounds like, just vaguely from here and here, you chose to say, fuck these things. I'm going to go get some other turbos from Z1 Motorsports. They look better anyway. And I'm going to not dealing with VR Kings because that's taking too long because my car is down, because now I want to get everything ready, and screw them. Let me put them on blast. And let me just try to get some of my money back. No. That's not how it works, man. You worked. If you said you worked on planes, I'm assuming there's certain parts that are going onto a stock plane, because the plane is stock, however it is. But with aviation, if you had a modified plane, and I'm not just talking about jetliners, whatever type of plane it is, if it's not being used for regular commercial use, and it's more of a hobby or fun type of type of car, or plane, I bet you those parts are only warranted for a certain type of limit. There's going to be a certain time frame and limit for everything. It's either the use in miles or its time frame. And even then, some things will still be limited. Even with the clutch. You go buy a clutch right now and it burns out in 6 weeks. They're going to tell you, send it back so they can take a look. But if they say, listen, we don't know what you did, but you burnt out a clutch in literally 100 miles, everything here looks pretty fine. It's just that you don't know how to drive. You're beating on it. And we don't know what you did, but you fucked it up. We're not warranty you, because those things are wear and tear on them. Same with brakes, rotors sometimes get warranted because they actually can swell and wobble over time from the excessive heat. But even then, some companies still have denied warranties on rotors because it said, no, there's no way for these rotors to go that bad in 500 miles. You had to be driving the car to its extreme limit and heating these rotors up back and forth, back and forth. We're not going to warranty it. It just doesn't seem possible. And things happen. But it seems like VR Kings tried their best to rectify, and they sound very professional within this video. Within this video and from the text, to try to help you out. Shout out to Jose and shout out to Lando. I've known these guys for quite some years. I've been on this platform for quite a long time. And anybody who has purchased from them, I really haven't had any complaints come directly to me at all, because if there's someone is bad in the community, I'm one of the people who know first. And it happened with one or two companies, and I didn't want to cause any issues, so I didn't make videos on it. So what I would do on my end is I'll just stop recommending those products to those people. That's it. I'll just stop recommending it, because at the end of the day, if someone's really bad, then I'll call it out. But like South Bay Auto that does the carbon and stuff, they were terrible. Worst company in the world to get products from, carbon products. But if this seemed like they tried to give you it out and it wasn't your time based and it wasn't time efficient for you, I'm sorry, that's unfortunate. I'm just unfortunate you spent money on something and it failed. I'm sorry. Things break. I bought my used Mercedes E63S right from pre-owned, and literally a week later the transmission blew on it. Transmission was out, gone. I didn't end up paying for it because I had a warranty. See what I'm saying? I had a warranty, and but here's the thing: even if I didn't have a warranty, come to find out it was the dealer's fault for doing it. It wasn't the dealer I purchased it from. It was the manufacturer that messed up and then put transmission fluid in the transmission when they replaced the motor because someone probably forgot to put the drain plug on the original motor when they were doing an oil change where their insurance company had to pay out because their labor person messed up. You see how things work? You see how things cascade and mess up? There's always going to be somebody else to cover the other person and make sure they're good. In this case, it sounds like at least if you had a tech that installed it properly, at least you could have installed it maybe a little quicker. I'm sorry you didn't. I get that part. But at the end of the day, there's an issue here and you have to follow it. Send the turbos in, get them rebuilt, and see if they can take care of you. But if they find out that you effed up, you got to stick with that on your bill, period. Just like if you put lug nuts on your wheels and you didn't torque them and the wheels fall off, who are you going to really be mad at? Who are you going to be mad at? You did the installation. You didn't go to the tire tech. You did it. You messed up. All right? I'm sorry, man. I'm just like to keep it straight up. And anyone else who's watching, understand that. Period. Outside that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you guys for always banging with your boy Boost. I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.